buyer needed to find software. So they did what a growing number of B2B buyers are doing now. They opened ChatGPT, they typed in the requirements, and asked to build a vendor shortlist. 20 vendors came back. Our client was number 1. Their biggest competitor, a billion-dollar brand with 10 times the name recognition, was number 8. That buyer came inbound to our client that same week. It was a 5 to 6 figure deal, ready to move. The competitor never got the call. The difference wasn't brand awareness, it wasn't ad spend, it was AI search visibility, and whether ChatGPT had enough signals to trust that brand to put it at the top of the list. Here's what I want you to sit with. That buyer never visited our client's website, they never saw a paid ad, they didn't even Google them. They asked AI to build a list, and our client was on it, ranked first before their buyer even knew that they existed. So most B2B marketing teams think that they have a search strategy. What they actually have is just a Google strategy, and those aren't the same thing. Fewer than 10% of sources cited in ChatGPT rank in Google's top 10 for the same query. You can be dominating traditional search, page 1, strong domain authority, solid organic traffic, and be completely invisible where a growing percentage of your buyers are starting their search. That's the problem, and I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to fix it. My name is Alexis Trammell. I'm the Chief Growth Officer at STRATABEAT. We're a B2B SEO, GEO, and content marketing agency. Mastro ranked first in ChatGPT for family office software, 13 points ahead of their nearest competitor in 4 months. Zuvu went from 0 AI presence to number 1 in their category, and WellSaid saw 209% growth in ChatGPT brand mentions in 90 days. What I'm about to share is the exact system we use with our clients across SaaS, ad tech, fintech, and cybersecurity. The audit, the research, the on-site work, and the monitoring that turns AI search visibility into actual pipeline. Let's get into it. Before you change anything, you need to know where you are. Most B2B companies have typed their brand name into ChatGPT once or twice and then called it a day. That's not an audit. That's a vibe check. A real GEO visibility audit starts with building a prompt set, the actual questions your buyers are typing into AI tools at every stage of the research. Awareness prompts like what is, how does this typically get solved? Then there are consideration prompts, best tools for or top platforms for. And then there's decision prompts, which includes versus or alternatives to. You run all of those across ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and Claude. Document everything, who shows up, what language the AI uses to describe each brand, what sources it's pulling from. And here's something most setups miss. There's a difference between being cited and being mentioned. An LLM can pull your page without ever saying the brand name. Citations drive clicks, brand mentions drive direct searches and pipeline. You need to track both. When we started working with Zuvu, an enterprise e-commerce platform serving clients like Microsoft and Canon, they had essentially 0 presence in AI-generated answers for their category, despite a genuinely differentiated product, despite massive enterprise logos. The audit told us exactly where the gap was, and that gap became our roadmap. By the end of the audit, you have a baseline visibility score across your full prompt set and a clear competitive gap analysis. Which prompts are your competitors winning? That gap is your prioritized to-do list. The audit tells you your current position. Prompt research tells you which positions are worth winning and what language you need to speak to win them. The gap between how a company describes itself and how its buyers actually search is almost always bigger than anyone expects. This is the research that closes that gap. Reddit. Find their subreddits where your buyers are active. What questions come up repeatedly? What language do they use to describe their problem? This is gold. It's unfiltered buyer language, and it's a large part of what AI models are trained on. If your site doesn't use that language, then you're invisible on those prompts. Review sites. G2, Capterra, and TrustRadius. Mind the reviews, yours and your competitors. The specific phrases reviewers use are often exactly what shows up in AI-generated responses about your category. Sales call recordings. This one gets skipped constantly. Pull your calls. What are buyers asking in the first 10 minutes of a discovery call? Those are almost always the questions they typed into ChatGPT the week before they booked the meeting. Think about your own buying behavior. When you're evaluating a new tool, you probably don't start with Google anymore. You start with a question. You ask AI to help you understand the landscape. Then you start narrowing. Your buyers are doing the same thing. The sales call is the end of the AI search journey, not the beginning. Customer reviews round this out. Ask recent customers what questions they had before they bought, what sources they trusted, whether they used AI during research. The answers are always useful. By the end of this phase, you have a comprehensive prompt map. Every question your ICP is asking, organized by buyer stage, and a clear picture of the language your content needs to speak. Part 3, third-party authority. Most teams hear GEO and immediately think about their own website. That's half the picture, and honestly, not the most important half. AI models don't just pull from your site, they pull from everywhere. And the signals they weight most heavily are third-party signals, other authoritative sources citing and describing your brand. Review platform profiles. G2, Capterra, Clutch, TrustRadius. These are among the most frequently cited sources of AI-generated responses about B2B software. If your profile is incomplete or your last review is 2 years old, that's a GEO problem. Treat these profiles like landing pages, not afterthoughts. Earned media and podcast transcripts, contributed articles, analyst coverage, podcast appearances, everyone is a potential citation source. If your team has been on podcasts and these episodes don't have index transcripts, that's missed citations. Original research. This is the single highest leverage authority play in GEO. When you publish proprietary data, a benchmark study, an industry survey, other sites reference it, journalists cite it, AI models cite it. Your brand becomes the source of record on the topic. We did this ourselves. We analyzed 200 B2B websites to understand what actually drives AI visibility. And that research gets cited. It drives inbound. It positions us as the authority in a way no blog post could replicate. If you have data, even internal data, build a research asset around it. Prompt research tells you what buyers are asking. Audience intelligence tells you why. And it surfaces the specific language patterns and decision criteria that end up woven into AI-generated descriptions of your category. This is where STRATABEAT is the most different from other agencies. Most SEO shops are content factories. They know how to produce, they don't know how to listen. In GEO, listening is the foundation of everything. With Zuvu, we embedded in their business. We listened to sales call recordings. We interviewed their sales team. We dug into CRM win-loss data. We were identifying patterns behind why deals closed, why deals didn't close, what language enterprise buyers used when describing their own evaluation criteria. What came out wasn't just content topics. It was the exact phrasing buyers use when they talk about the problem Zuvu solves, language that became the foundation for content that now gets cited in AI responses consistently. Zuvu went from 0 AI's presence to number 1 in their category. 37% GEO visibility, 13 points ahead of their nearest competitor, and 100% positive sentiment in every AI-generated mention of their brand. That level of result requires going somewhere most agencies never go. Each of our strategists works with like 2 to 4 clients, not 8 or 10 or sometimes 30. That ratio isn't a talking point, it's what makes this depth possible for our clients. Everything up to here was research. This is where it becomes action. And here's what I want to name. We don't make clients wait 6 months while they build a strategy. From week 1, we're parallel pathing. Quick wins running alongside the longer foundational work. Quick wins. In the first few weeks, here's what you could be doing. So you could update your robots.txt to explicitly allow AI crawlers. That could be the GPT bot, Claude bot, Perplexity bot, Google extended. Most B2B sites haven't done this yet, and it only takes about 10 minutes. You can also add key takeaway sections to your top blog posts. This gives AI a pre-packaged extractable summary of each piece. This is one of the highest leverage structural changes that you can make. You should also add FAQ sections to core product and solution pages. Question-based headings map directly to how buyers prompt AI engines. So let's talk about content restructuring. Consider rewriting service and product pages using your ICP's language. Not your language. The phrases from Reddit, the questions from sales calls, the words that show up in reviews, all of it should be reflected in how you describe what you do. Build a definitive content on your core category terms. One strong, well-structured page on a core topic will outperform a dozen thin blog posts every single time. Next, let's talk about schema markup. FAQ schema, how-to schema, organization schema. This makes your content structurally easier for AI models to parse and cite. Still massively underused across B2B. Content freshness. AI models prefer recently updated content. Pages untouched in 18 months are going to get deprioritized. Build a refresh cadence. Not just publishing new content, but maintaining what you already have. When we started working with WellSaid, they're an AI text-to-speech SaaS heavily dependent on paid search. We addressed technical SEO, rewrote pages around non-branded buyer intent, and built content that matched how enterprise buyers actually evaluate text-to-speech platforms. 90 days later, non-branded organic traffic was up 1,076%. LLM brand mentions were up 209%. Organic now drives more traffic than paid at 88% lower cost. The on-site work was fast because it was informed by the research phases. When you know exactly what your buyers are asking and where your competitors are winning, you're not just guessing. You're executing against a map. None of that happened from doing just one thing. It happened because we ran the full system. We did the audit, the prompt research, the audience intelligence, third-party authority, monitoring, on-site execution, all of it working together. Most agencies are going to tell you that GEO is primarily a technical discipline. Fix your schema, add your LLMs.txt tags, structure your headings, and you're good. The technical work matters, and we do it rigorously, but the reason our clients show up in ChatGPT when their competitors don't isn't because of their schema. It's because we understand their buyers more deeply than anyone else in the room. We know what questions they're asking before they ever contact a sales team member. We know which prompts their competitors are winning and why. So clearly, that's not a technical problem. That's an audience intelligence problem. Every CMO we talk to eventually gets asked the same question by their CEO. Does this actually bring more business? Not traffic, not rankings, business. And that's the most important metric we build our programs around. That family office deal we talked about at the start, it started before a website visit, before a sales call, before anyone at that company had ever heard of our client's name. It started in an AI search bar, and the answer that came back was shaped by months of strategic work. Every part of our system that I just walked you through. Your buyers are doing this right now in your category. The question isn't whether GEO matters, the question is whether you're there when they ask. If you want to know where your company stands in AI search right now, which prompts you're appearing on, which ones you're losing, and what's driving your competitor citations, we do a free GEO visibility audit. The link is in the description. And what you get back is a clear picture of your AI search footprint and a prioritized action plan. And if you're looking for an SEO, GEO, and content marketing agency, our website is STRATABEAT.com. I hope you subscribe if this was useful for you. We put out content like this regularly. Hope to see you next time.